mantra is that, you should do what you love. And I love teaching. And at the same time, as a teacher, I also want people who are in contact with me to tell them in time how to save litigation. Not that, I've been able to save litigations for myself. I've had my own quota of litigations, and I think these litigations plus uh, expertise in Delhi Medical Council and now National Medical Council has given me more insight, so I can definitely present. And today I'm going to present how to protect gynecologists from medico-legal litigations in India. Gynecologists face 50% of litigations against doctors in India. 80% are instigated by your colleagues, whom you call friends. These are the people who have instigated the litigations against you. Gynecologists are expected approximately that they will have 2.5 cases plus the liability claims over his or her career. Around 80% can anticipate being sued in their career. Over 25% obstetricians decrease their high-risk obstetric practice, and 8 to 10% quit obstetric practice altogether. In India, as in any other country, gynecologists are most vulnerable and can take specific measure to protect themselves from medico-legal litigations. The legal healthcare landscape is complex, varies in different cities in our country. Here are some additional strategies tailored to save gynecologists practicing in India. Every patient is a potential litigant. Do take it in a very positive sense, because you've been trained as gynecologists, you can't do anything other than being a gynecologist. Be updated and more careful in documentation, counseling, and consent. इन 3 चीजों को आपने कर लिया, documentation, counseling, and consents, 50% litigations can be avoided altogether, and another 50%, these can save you in litigations. Now, follow the NMC Code of Ethics 23. You must be registered in the place where you're practicing. Your additional thing against your name, you should only write those things which are NMC certified degrees. You should not write anything else, like cosmetology has come a big branch. People pay 5 lakhs of rupees for training, but you cannot write down that particular degree in against your name. Charges should be displayed in your clinic, should not be part of the advertisements. Other companies can make advertisements for us, but we cannot make advertisements for ourselves. Very tragic affair, but this is what it is. You should be very clear in giving certificates, and you should, there are ways for it. I think there can be just one talk on how to give certificates. Cut practice, my request with a folded hand is that do not become part of the cut practice. It is a norm now. And drug house, don't take freebies from them. Again, I'm warning on this particular aspect. Almost 100% of the doctors take help of these drug houses to pay their fees for attending any conferences. Now, I always say be informed. NMC Code of Ethics was there in 2002, and now they have upgraded to 2023. It has been partly, it was already announced, and because of certain things, they have withdrawn it, and probably because of the elections are around the corner, so they don't want to oppose medical community. Relevant laws and the acts of India, we must know. Landmark judgments of the Supreme Court, I highlighted in very much detail last time. Again, we must know those 8 to 10 judgments, and we must keep a copy of the same in a chamber itself. If we are gynecologists and practicing obstetrics and doing surgery, indemnity insurance of 1 crore is needed. Updated Consumer Protection Act, again, we had discussed last time, and I think each one of you should know about it. PCPNDT Act, one should really not get scared about it as far as you follow the rules and the laws of the land. The Clinical Establishment Act 2010 does not apply to doctors who are working in Delhi, but all around us it is there. Birth and Death Certificate Registration Act also we should know. Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act has changed a bit, and we can find the POXO Act we have discussed as time and again, and I think I'm very glad that 50% of the gynecologists in the city of Delhi know about what to do in POXO Act now after a hard work of last 6 months. And the biomedical waste rules of 1998, again, you have to follow them strictly. Again, you can find there are a lot of litigations against this, and one of the march, which is going to be there on the 29th of October, biomedical waste is also one of the issues which the DMA is going to take for Delhi gynecologists. Now, what we can find is that the OPT records, 99% of the doctors don't keep the OPT records, and according to the NMC, it is now must. I think, one should become member of the Indian Medical Association, the FOXY, and the other local bodies like DGF and IGF, more the merrier. Because कोई तो आपको मदद करेगा, और जो लोकल बंदा है वही मदद करेंगे, बाहर से कोई नहीं आएगा आपको मदद करने. Delhi Medicare Act, I think you should all know about it, and I will just show you this particular thing. You should be there in your clinics 3-4 times, 3-4 places. It should be displayed well. This is for the Prevention of Violence and the Damage to Property Act 2008, and I think you should be well conversed how to call a police when you need and how to handle police investigations against the doctors. Now, this is what you should be putting it up in your clinic. In the reception area, as the patients are walking to your clinic, they must see this there. The Delhi Medicare service personnel and the Medicare services institutions, for it is prevention of violence against doctors and the doctor staff and damage to the property of the doctors. This came in 2008. इसमें गैर जमानती पुलिस केस होता है, गिरफ्तारी होती है और 3 साल की सजा होती है, और आपकी जो उन्होंने नुकसान किया, आपकी डैमेज किया, आपकी वहां पर double the cost they have to give. And this particular thing has been made in association with Delhi Medical Council and the Delhi Police, and I think each one of us should have it in their clinics. And there are general precautions. I will just tell all gynecologists, when you are served a notice, there are clear deadlines for reply to the state council or district CPA notices. Please stick to these guidelines as for the reply is concerned. Ask for senior colleagues to advise in difficult cases. Rule for self is, if you wish to refer your cases early. Keep knowledge updated. Keep notes of the academic activities. Preserve records, especially medico-legal cases, complicated cases, and controversial cases. Give guarded prognosis whenever you are in doubt and you find that the case looks messy. It is good to take a second opinion in such difficult cases. And again, I repeat, if you have to refer a patient, refer them in time and early. History of allergy is very, very important because the highest compensation had been given to in Indian court, which amounting to crores, again, because the history of allergy was not taken in time. Kunal Saha case. Do not admit patients at places with inadequate facilities. Do not employ unqualified persons. You will be held liable for their misconduct and deficiency in care. Do not prescribe without examining the patient. Now, telemedicine has been advised during the COVID times, and in case if you're giving consultation for telemedicine, you have to write down that, telemedicine consultation, here the patient has not been physically examined. Use suffix honestly, do not misrepresent. Do not use unrecognized degrees, only NMC recognized degree. I repeat again. Do not indulge or patronize cuts in commissions. Do not favor any pharma companies. Do not succumb to pressure or targets of the big hospitals. Majority cases, issue is not a medical and technical, but it is always misunderstanding or anger on the part of the patient and the relatives. It is 80%, it is lack of communication, communication, and communication. Most likely, those who are hurried or unwilling to listen and do not answer queries are caught, less likely who are perceived as concerned, accessible, and willing to communicate. But you can take it from me, no rules work these days. किसी को भी पकड़कर पेस्ट ठोक देते हैं. CDC, I just now informed, can prevent 50% of litigations, and this is communication, documentation, and consent. Clearly explain medical procedures, treatments, and the potential risks to patients and their families. Obtain informed consent for all interventions, surgeries, and treatment. Document the process thoroughly. Alternative, if any, please tell your patient and write down. As to the consent is concerned, my request to everybody is, Foxy has brought out a booklet of consents. And whenever you're doing a major surgeries, it should be used both major and minor cases. Give them whole thing. They must read it up before they finally put a signatures. Good documentation is the good defense, and a bad documentation is a bad defense. Maintain detailed and accurate medical records for each patient. Record all consultation, assessments, treatment plans, and follow-up discussions. Document patients' understanding of the risk and benefits, as well as any questions they have asked you. Have digital record of each patient, and unfortunately, less than 1% doctors are keeping the records. Now, coming to the gross negligence. I think last presentation of mine, I discussed about the Bolam law. This is professional discretion. एक आदमी बोलता है कि इस तरह का ट्रीटमेंट हो जाएगा, दूसरा बोलता है दूसरे तरह का ट्रीटमेंट है, दोनों की तरफ से it is equally regarded, and it has to be respected. The professional discretion has to be respected. And the gross negligence is which a prudent doctor, जिसका थोड़ा सा भी दिमाग है, he will not do this. In antenatal care, provide comprehensive antenatal care, including the regular checkups, necessary tests according to the Government of India and the Ministry of Health and Family Planning. Educate, counsel expectant mothers and their family about the pregnancy, delivery, the golden hour of breastfeeding, and the postpartum care. I think there should be one dedicated session for counseling during pregnancy. It should be definitely there. For place of delivery, kahan hogi, mode of delivery kya hoga, unpredictable nature of the labor, PPH, and the golden hour breastfeeding, ये सब बताना बहुत जरूरी है. Now, emergency obstetric care training is must outside. Ensure proper training and preparedness for emergency obstetric care, like critical care course in obstetrics by Delhi Gynaecologist Forum. It is must in UK and Europe to practice for a practicing obstetrician to do these particular courses on a yearly basis, and document action taken during emergencies like PPH and the rationale behind decisions made for removal of uterus or doing an internal ligation, etc. Now, critical care course in obstetrics should not be ignored, and I think one should definitely do these courses to improve the insights about the complications of your simple obstetric cases which can occur. As for the surgical procedures are concerned, follow proper surgical protocols and guidelines during delivery, cesarean section, and other gynecological surgeries. Document the necessity for surgical intervention and the process followed up. ये कह देना कि hysteroscopy done normal, this is not, this will be taken by the court as the procedure not done by you. If you've done a procedure, you have to write down details. Follow state guidelines and regularly send them whatever documentation the government requires without fail. Call for help for senior and colleagues. Crisis team should be handy with you. Gynecologists, you must know senior your colleagues who can be handy with you in the time of your emergencies. And as for the physical support is required, I think nothing can be better than the IMA local teams can help you out. Now, 5 ingredients for medical accidents happen. You may be, however competent you may be the best of professors, and still the medical accident can happen. So you must know what has to be done for that particular case, that is called right thing to be done. Then you must ask yourself, are you the right person? Are you qualified to do that particular thing? Right place. मैंने आपको बताया जहां कम फैसिलिटीज है वहां पे कॉम्प्लिकेटेड केसेस को नहीं करना है. Do you have the right team with you? And the right care is the SOP are in place when you're going to take this particular care. So whenever you're doing it, you must have answers for everything. Inherent risk of complication. If you ignore them, it is a breach of care. Standard textbook mention, उनका मेंशन होना चाहिए, क्योंकि यही चीज आपने कोर्ट में दिखानी है. जो कुछ आप कोर्ट में दिखा सकोगे वही आपको हैंडी रखना चाहिए. Patient privacy is very important. It is a very sensitive issue, and it should not be, their records should not be shared without the proper authorization by the patient. Continuing medical education is needed to stay updated on the latest medical advancements and the guidelines like PPH workshop, hypertensive disorders workshop, and other things. And attend conferences and workshops specific to gynecology and obstetrics like operative and gestational diabetes and IVF, etc. Develop a comprehensive risk management plan in collaboration with your healthcare facility, like placenta accreta bundle, PPH bundle, sepsis bundle. You should be very, very clear about it. And regularly review and update your protocols to address potential risk with your friends. Because friends ही आपको समय में काम आएंगे. Now, professional networking is very important. Connect with a fellow gynecologists and obstetricians to discuss challenging cases and share experiences and latest protocols. Collaborate with specialists when necessary. Local dedicated experts, you should be friendly with them. And I always say 10% of your money earned by you and 10% of your time you must spend in doing short-term courses to stay updated. Now, as far as the medico-legal expertise is concerned, be in touch and consult with medico-legal experts or legal professionals. किस टाइम कौन पेशेंट आपके लिए परेशानी कर देगा, तो you must have in your phone itself whom to call when the emergency arises, who specializes in healthcare and malpractice, medical malpractice in India, not only in India, in your place and nearby to you. Seek guidance on documentation practices, potential legal pitfalls by medico-legal consultant for yourself and for your hospital and the clinic where you work. Now, insurance coverage is very, very important. Do not practice without insurance even for 1 hour. Ensure that you have an adequate medical insurance to cover potential legal expenses. I just now said minimum 1 crore, and keep them always in loop before you consult medical legal experts. See that they pay lawyers money as well. As for the ethical considerations are concerned, adhere to ethical standards and professional code of conduct set by FOXI, National Medical Councils, NIGF, DGF. Whatever the drug houses come and teach you, they have not come in guidelines. तब तक guidelines में नहीं आए, उसको use नहीं करना है. Avoid any actions that will compromise patient trust or violate ethical principles. Friends बनाओ, ट्रस्ट दो, पहले उनके साथ खड़े हो एंड फिर ट्रस्ट लो, नहीं तो आपके कोलीग्स ही आपको ले डूबेंगे. NMC 2023, I have given this particular number, it will be available to you, and this particular guidelines are available on the website. I will say that you should copy it, and you should have a handy copy with yourself. Patient education and counseling sessions are very important. Educate patients about their conditions, treatment options, expected outcomes, encourage them to ask questions and clarify doubts. Kuch na chupao. Be honest. Be honest. Remember that the medical and legal landscape in India can be intricate and expensive. So it is crucial to work closely with medical legal experts and professional associations. Do ensure you are practicing in line with the country's regulations and guidelines. Scope for litigation in ART is also equally complex, costly treatment, because IVF is a costly treatment. People expect 100% results in spite of you repeatedly counseling. So take my advice, please, those success rate you stick up in the patient waiting area and put it in the file wherever consultation. Again, on the right hand side, these results should be there. So at least they cannot say कि डॉक्टर साहब आपने बताया नहीं था. Documentation will save you. Public, zero tolerance for failure. तो आप कैसे काउंसिल करते हैं? How you counsel and document your counseling, that is the secret lies here. Now I'll take a couple of few cases. Case 1, antenatal patient called doctor telephonically, complained of headache. Doctor advised an analgesic. She was not relieved. She threw a fit. She was admitted with eclampsia. She delivers a stillbirth, sues the doctor for failure of diagnosis and a proper care. And the case went till the NMC. It went against her. Case 2, antenatally booked patient calls for a doctor at the midnight, not answered as the call did not materialize, goes to another hospital, sues the doctor, but because the call did not materialize, this went in favor of the doctor. Case 3, a gynecologist prescribes an ultrasound and a Doppler to primary gravida with free floating head. Patient did not get investigations done, goes into spontaneous labor. There is a second stage problem. Head was not descending. LSCS consent was not given. The vacuum assisted delivery was done after informed and documented consent. 2 loops of the cord was around the neck. Child was born with birth asphyxia. In DMC, it went against her, but finally in NMC, it was cleared and it went in her favor. Now, another case, patient with 6 months amenorrhea with a positive pregnancy test. Gynecologist did an ultrasound, no intrauterine pregnancy was visualized. She performs a DNC in any way, supposing it to be intrauterine pregnancy because the beta HCG were positive. However, pregnancy continues. And she presents 1.5 months later with ruptured communicating rudimentary harm and a massive intraperitoneal bleed. The case of biconjugate uterus, but because of the documentation, it had been written that DNC was done, no products were received. Anytime if you have any emergency, please report to this thing, because it can be a pregnancy, can be there somewhere else. It went against her initially, and then finally it went in her favor. And this is because of the beautiful documentation in this particular case. Case 5, she was 48 years old lady, ovarian cyst, diagnosed in an ultrasound. She was advised surgery. Hysterectomy was performed without proper consent. No consent was taken for hysterectomy. No pathology detected in uterus, and she sued her. The court asked for justification for removing uterus. Doctor argues that the childbearing age was over and the uterus could not be, you could develop any pathology in future. The judges said it is okay, but where is the consent? And the consent was not taken. So, the case went against her because of the lack of consent for hysterectomy. Case 6, cervical biopsy report was squamous cell carcinoma, well differentiated. Simple hysterectomy was performed with MD doctor with no postoperative radiotherapy or chemotherapy was advised. Patient developed stage 4 carcinoma within 6 months. Patient was sued and everything went against her. Case 7, unbooked full term with a severe PIH reaches a nursing home. Nursing home refuses admit for a lack of facility to handle complication. Patient insists that she will not go anywhere. Doctor admits after explaining and taking the written consent that anything can go wrong with the baby and with yourself. Patient develops complication of stillbirth, sues the doctor, but because of the good documentation, the case went in a favor of the doctor. Here I just wish to tell you, after my long experience, I have not been able to convince my colleagues who are sitting in National Medical Council. If there's a PPH case who dies, and you have not done a hysterectomy, in spite of that you have a postgraduate qualification, this cannot be pardoned. You cannot save a uterus and lose a life of a patient. Secondly, Referral, if it is done late, patient succumbs on the way or reaching the hospital dies, then this is again also goes against you. But I can tell you, if you have followed the SOP well, nobody can touch you. आपको litigation की problem जरूर होंगी. आपको कई बार आपको स्टेट काउंसिल में थिंग्स कैन गो अगेंस्ट, बट as senior courts, you go, you find that the people who are educated people are there, the experienced people are there, and things go in your favor. But आपको उस particular तामझाम को झेलने के लिए आना चाहिए, because I've seen people changing their personality once the litigations is on them. Another thing which I want to wish to bring to your notice is, whenever there is an intrauterine growth retardation, if gynecologist does induction, you find soon there is an intranatal stillbirth. Baby is asphyxiated and acidotic, which these people do not tolerate induction. And the cases go against the gynecologist. Amniotic fluid embolism, we all know 80% people are going to die. If you follow the SOP properly, you can find that in state councils something can go against you, but finally if you move up, it will be in your favor, provided you have followed the SOP very well. Postmenopausal bleeding, we do total abdominal hysterectomy with BSO, and ovarian malignancy on the histopathology was found. The doctor saw the report, but she missed reading between the lines. Ovarian malignancy was there in the report, and she sues the doctor, and it went against her in Delhi Medical Council. हिस्टोपैथोलॉजी रिपोर्ट पेशेंट ने 2 बार डॉक्टर साहब को दिखाई, और डॉक्टर साहब ने वो जो पढ़ा नहीं उसको कि ये ओवेरियन मैलिग्नेंसी वाज रिटन ऑन द हिस्टोपैथोलॉजी रिपोर्ट. Primary gravid at 39 years, ultrasound was done, Doppler was done, NST was done, all normal. Next day, the stillbirth was there, a 4 kg baby. OGTT with the DIPSI was done at 12 weeks. It was not repeated in the mid-pregnancy or again at 32 to 33 weeks. No autopsy was requested. The random blood sugar done after the stillbirth was 230, and it went against that, including in NMC. 43 years old lady, heavy period, 16 weeks fibroid. The GNC was negative. She went TLH with BSO. The histopathological report of the uterine specimen showed sarcoma. She was saved because of the counseling was done very properly, where it has been written that it is a big uterus. I'm sending it for histopathology, and you can have, a very, very rare malignancy, sarcoma. So this lady was saved because of this particular thing. Now, coming finally, that legal issues in obstetric and gynecologists के लिए मेरी सलाह ये है, be updated, know the law of the land, practice contemporary evidence-based medicine, which is in guidelines. Show compassion and learn good communication skill. Informed consent is very important. Counseling is very, very important. Do not leave consent on others. Write operation notes yourself. Be prepared to defend with all documentations. And finally, as for the litigations are concerned, ये तकदीर की मार है. आप कितने बढ़िया डॉक्टर हैं, अगर आपको litigations आपके हो गई तो उसे पीछा छुड़ाना बहुत मुश्किल है. It can take 2 decades, years and years, and I think that torture is cannot be explained by me. Proper patient care is important. Communication has to be superb. Documentation has to be good. Second opinion, don't hesitate on you. It does not bring down your prestige. Timely and the early referral should be there. And the patient should reach the safe. Patient reaches at the hospital safely is your responsibility and nobody else. And these are things I have covered last time. This is there.
मेरा सर संबल सिर की दवाई